Good morning, everybody out there in Twitch TV land, and welcome to our Wednesday community catch-up. My name is Andy Belford, and I am the community manager for Dawngate and Waystone Games. I'm the community manager for Waystone Games, and we are making Dawngate. We are a brand new MOBA made by Waystone Games and published by Electronic Arts. So, today is a very special version or edition of the community catch-up because I have the lovely Miss Laura May, Miss Moneypenny Brown joining me today. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing today?
Lots of people saw me yesterday as well.
They did see you yesterday, but you know what? Today is a little bit of let's get to know Laura and let's get to know what's the business side of Dawngate going to look like. So,
exactly.
We've got a lot of ground to cover. Normally on Wednesdays we'll do like a kind of a roundup of the community. We'll cover we'll cover the subreddit. We'll talk about community sites and things like that that have kind of popped up recently. This week we've got a lot of stuff to cover. And so I want to make sure that we give Miss Laura here, Ms. Laura, really, Ms. if I'm going to be proper.
Miss is fine.
Miss or Mrs.
Sure.
Either way. Sitting next to an English woman, I always feel as though I should be very proper. So I'm not going to attempt the accent. I don't want to do. I'm not going to do that.
Don't do it. No.
If I say brilliant a few times, that's
brilliant.
Okay. Brilliant's okay.
Brilliant. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Bollocks.
Right. Bollocks. Or loo. Anyways, all right.
Trousers.
Trousers? Really? Trousers?
Yes, not pants. Pants is underwear.
But
it's trousers.
But trousers are trousers are trousers, right? Trousers are pants, but pants are pants. So, I mean,
pants are underwear.
Underwear is underpants, or
sure,
or skivvies.
We don't say that.
You don't say skivvies?
Not so much, no.
That's more of a Navy thing, I think, probably. Okay,
yeah.
Great. Awesome. We've got
now that we've established that, good.
Now we've established that. What? Somebody's like, Lord Nummington, what the hell are they talking about? This is a great way to start the stream off, I think. So anyways, we want to get through all the material we have to cover today, and we also want to give you guys the opportunity to ask the lovely Miss Brown here some questions here towards the end of the stream. So before we get started on the material that we want to cover, though, the material, right, meow. Let's go ahead and let's get to know Miss Laura May Brown really quickly. So tell us a little bit about what your background is. Obviously, you've got this wonderful, delightful English accent. So we know that you're from a English-related country. But tell us about your background. What brought you to the world of monetization director within the video games industry?
Well, it's probably not very conventional, but I actually started as an investment banker in London. So I did that for 5 years.
Oh my.
Really grinding it out.
That sounds terribly exciting.
Yes. It's very glamorous. And that's a real grind.
That's a real grind. Okay.
And then I thought, look, I'm a closet gamer. Mm-hmm. And one day I'm going to get exposed for who I really am. And that day came. Mm-hmm. 2 a.m. one day. I thought I would just quickly log into WoW and, just play for a bit while, no one's in the office. People were in the office. And they outed me for the gamer that I was. And so I was like, fine, I'll show you all. I'll go to gaming where I'll be respected and loved, and it will be, I can be with my other.
So wait. When they say they outed you, was it a negative reaction to you playing World of Warcraft in the office?
I mean, especially back in those days as well. I mean, within investment banking, it's a little bit taboo to be a gamer.
Stodgy.
Yeah, that's not so cool.
You know what? I'm glad that ours it feels like society has changed quite a bit.
Yes, definitely.
We are. I think everybody has realized. Wow, pretty much everybody plays video games these days. So. That's very cool. So you were caught as an investment banker playing your level 80 orc.
Yes.
Or something like that. Go ahead.
But yeah, and then so I decided, look, I love gaming. I want to get into gaming. So I was very fortunate to meet the guys at Riot Games. Mm-hmm. So I attended E3, and they were still kind of in the alpha, very early beta stages. They demoed the game. They taught me how to play, and those folks were great. And I was like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity for me to help you with your, on the business side, on the monetization side. And it was a great partnership. I joined when they were, still pretty small, mm-hmm. Stayed with them for 2 years, built up their monetization strategy. Seems to have done okay, I think.
They're doing all right.
They're doing all right, right?
I hear they're moderately successful these days.
Moderately. I
Yes.
heard some people play that game. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I hear anyway. And and that was a really exciting challenge, and they just keep going from strength to strength. And then I met the Dawngate folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Dave Sarah, and he was, so passionate about what him and the team were building. And I was so excited. He showed it to me, and I was like, wow, I really want to see how this is going to grow. I have so many amazing ideas. Interested? And they were like, yeah, good ideas. And so I formed a partnership with the Dawngate folks, and now I'm here, and I've been here for a year and a half now at EA, and been working very closely with our design team, with our art team, with our engineers, the whole dev team, to really weave in the monetization strategy for Dawngate.
Awesome. And it is worth pointing out you actually do have a team
Yes,
that is working with you.
I do.
That consists of some folks who you guys will be introduced today, probably later on the forums or on Reddit. That is, obviously you guys all know Jiva already, and he is part of your team.
Yes.
And then there is Andrew, Court Jester, OM. Court Jesterom.
Yeah.
is that what that would be? So, Court Jester is going to be introduced. We're going to unleash him on the community today.
Yes.
And then there's a few other members of the team which are not quite ready to go out and talk to the players yet, but they are there. So we have this. There's a lot. What I'm getting at with this is that there is actually a lot of thought and quite frankly care put behind these plans that we're coming up with. So. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually turn it over to Laura here, to Miss Moneypenny here, for us to kind of get started, because what we're going to do right now is we're basically going to lay out the plan for you, and I'll probably ask a few questions here and there during this whole presentation type of thing. And then we're going to open it up to questions to you guys. So if you guys out there in Twitch land could do me a favor, hold your questions until the end when we have the Q&A time, and that would be outstanding. And then I'll basically open up for questions. I'll give you guys a format to ask them, kind of so that it's easier for us to pick out the questions, and we'll answer as many of those questions as possible. But for now, I just ask that you guys enjoy the conversation we're about to have with you, and take it away, Miss Brown.
Great. Well, I just want to say there is a lot to cover, so I will probably talk reasonably quickly, and I know you'll have a ton of questions afterwards, so I'll make sure there's time at the end. But just be mindful, this is one of several, conversations that we're going to have, and we're going to keep divulging more and more as we go along. So I won't just spill all my secrets on day one.
Right.
But there is more to come too after this.
And realistically, it's not like secrets. It's it's a phased rollout, guys. And that is something that's really important to understand, is that we don't want to bombard everybody with too much information at once. And we want to be able to gather feedback from you guys in as effective a way as possible. So there will be more information in the coming weeks, and we're going to be sharing it all with you. So.
Great. So I just wanted to reiterate, I know we've been saying this all along, but just to reiterate again, we are going to be completely free to play. That means no gating of access to content, no gating of access to gameplay. And what that means is whether you are a paying player or you're a non-paying player, you will be just as competitive as everyone else. This is a level playing field for everyone, and everybody can have a very rich experience around that. And really what we're trying to do is really kind of build a whole entire experience. So everything from the lore to the monetization to the game, everything built together to give you an experience where you can earn and unlock content anywhere during your experience. You can have a variety of offers that basically will appeal to different individuals that play our game. So what does that really mean? What does that all boil down to? It means that we are going to have two currencies. The first is going to be called Destiny.
Okay.
That is our earned currency.
Okay.
That is the currency you will earn after you play games.
Right.
And then our second currency will be called Waypoints, and this is the real money currency.
Okay. Waypoints, that's very clever.
Waypoints, yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Who thought of that one?
I wish I could take credit, the design team.
Okay. Oh, you designers.
You designers got in there with your cleverness.
Okay.
So, for now, I'm going to focus more on the Destiny side, because that is kind of what's upcoming first. But I do want to give an overall view of what is sort of coming. So, we will be moving towards having gameplay items such as shapers. needing to be unlocked with earned currency.
Mm-hmm.
This will also be supported by perks or stats, however you like to call it, which are going to be, for builds and loadouts for these shapers, which will also be unlockable with earned currency destiny.
Okay.
Now, to make sure that when players come in, everything remains on an even playing field, two main things will happen. Firstly, we will have a regular shaper rotation, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. And secondly, with our perks and loadouts, we will be granting some upfront. So every player comes in and is able to have a loadout. This loadout, in terms of value, is equal to any other loadout you can build, so you're at no disadvantage from using the loadout that we're going to grant the players.
Okay.
But it is, think about it more as like a generic loadout that can be applicable to any shaper.
Okay.
So if you want to customize your loadout to the specific gameplay style that you have, to really amp up your shaper, then you will unlock additional perks using Destiny to customize for yourself.
Okay. All right.
So that is the starting point. So because we are keeping it all free to play, any gameplay impacting items will be unlockable with earned currency.
Right. So we're going to have lots of questions about, the particular business model we've decided to go with, right?
Sure.
And what would you say to people who are asking, well, why did you decide to go down the route of unlocking shapers through earning currency from gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's, a few business models out there from other MOBAs. And for us, what we really sat down and thought is really what works for our game. We're a relatively small studio, kind of trying to maintain a sort of startup mentality within EA. And after, running the numbers and looking about what is sustainable for us to keep offering content at a regular cadence so that we can keep growing and growing the game, the best option for us was to have shapers unlockable over time with earned currency.
Yep. And it's not just being able to just produce content and just spitting out content. It's producing quality content.
Yes,
it is
exactly.
producing content that we can be proud of, and that you as players of Dawngate can be proud of to have either earned or bought. So
exactly. And we are trying to be, and to be clear, we're trying to be as fair as we can. We don't want the grind to be very painful. But at the same time, if players want to pay to unlock things, we also don't want to prohibit that. Okay. So we're trying to find the happy balance. In terms of items besides the gameplay specific items, it's I suppose no big surprise we'll also be offering skins.
Oh my.
Oh my.
In fact, we do have something to show folks.
Yes, so I do want to do a little bit of a reveal of a skin that we are definitely releasing.
All right.
It doesn't have a firm release date yet.
Right.
But
so we're going to be showing and this is concept art, guys.
Concept art, yes.
Concept art, guys. So concept art of our very first shaper skin.
Yes.
Or not one of our very first shaper skins. I don't want to say very first because I don't know what the release order is. So here we go, guys. The very first view of a concept of shapers. I'm just going to put it on screen now, guys. All right.
All right.
Here we go.
This is Courier Freya. That may not be the final name, but the idea is, back if you were familiar with the lore, back in the day, Fenmore completely razed her village.
Yes.
And she is bent on revenge against Fenmore. They have that feud. However, before all that drama started, in her village, she did deliveries, and she was a courier. And actually, when she came back to her village and witnessed what Fenmore was doing, this was what she was wearing.
Very nice. So this was what she was. This is as she walked up upon the decimated remains of her village and family.
This is how she was dressed, and obviously now she's a bit darker because she's a little bit traumatized by all of that.
She's filled with rage.
She is
literally
filled with rage.
See what we did there? It's a lore pun. Dandelion, I hope you're proud of me. All right. So that's awesome. So I mean, skins I think is something that folks have folks have known, I think,
That are coming,
that are
yes.
coming, and we've never like denied it. We've never
Nope.
said, "Oh, no skins," something like that. But it's good to see. It's good that we're able to finally confirm it, and actually to show you guys kind of an early work in progress of it. I mean, personally, I love this. It's great. It's an outstanding skin. It actually fits with the lore, which is
Mm-hmm.
so important to our creative team. Just fitting in with the lore, and I know there's lots of our players who are actually really excited by the lore of Dawn Gate. So I'm really happy to see this.
Yeah,
So
it's really exciting. It's to just whether you're very familiar with the lore or not. I hope you do read the lore.
hmm
This just gives glimpses to other sides of the personalities of the Shapers.
very cool. All right, on. All right, so moving on. So we talked about skins. Did you have
Yes.
other things that you wanted to talk about in regards to that, or is that just more things to come?
There are more things to come. There are a few things I do want to talk about. I'll be honest with you, I will be a little vague right now because we're still finalizing a lot of this and
Okay.
some of it doesn't have release dates and things like that. But one of the things that's very important for us is to really reward our players for the type of contribution that they make to Dawngate.
Okay.
So, traditionally, I've already said that at the end of game you will earn some destiny.
Okay.
But what we're trying to move towards is at end of game, depending on how you have, how dedicated you've been, your contribution to the game, your team play, your social contribution, a lot of factors that are over and beyond any, the traditional either pay or direct performance. We want to reward you for other contributions that you're making to the game. We're thinking about these kind of special bonuses or drops, however you'd like to look at it, at the end of game that will basically drop more things than just earn currency. So,
Okay.
for example, it could drop some of these perks. For example, it could drop some skins. It
Okay.
could drop some shapers.
Oh.
I mean, there's a lot of very interesting things that could get dropped. Now, there's a few things obviously that we haven't announced which could be dropped too. So.
hmm
We're really just trying to build a very positive community.
So there's multiple. So that's actually a really good thing. Is like in our design discussions, we are considering multiple avenues to earning shapers.
Yes.
Some of them are obviously for those who have that very clear goal in mind. But sometimes it could be just kind of like a surprise bonus prize.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And, I don't have all the details to expose now, but we are thinking of basically making it as fair as possible. So depending on how you best contribute to Dawngate, you're rewarded for that. So you don't have to be top of a league table, but if you are, you'll be rewarded as well. You don't have to pay to get access,
Right.
but if you do, that's a different kind of reward. If you're just an all-round great player and you're just really positive and you help the community, then you get rewarded for that. So
Okay.
however you want to contribute to this game best, there's something in it for you.
And that's actually really a cool thing. Like, I mean, honestly, like loot drops are one of the main kind of buttons to push when you're thinking about things like MMOs. I mean, everybody loves to see the fat purples, right? I mean,
Yes.
that is a nice thing. So, and like if I had to make a comparison to something existing within our space, the Dota 2 system kind of elicits that same kind of emotional response as well, where at the end of the game you could randomly get a purple. I got a chicken with a rocket on its back.
Yeah.
Purple drop from when I was after playing a game of Dota, and that felt very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
It's very viscerally satisfying. So I really like that we are taking the time to put that level of consideration into our reward system. So.
Absolutely. And to be clear, it is going to be a phased release, so we will start first with dropping earn currency, then we'll move on to dropping perks into
Uh-huh.
into the bags as well, or the bonuses, and then gradually we'll keep adding more and more things.
Very cool.
And making it more and more compelling. We do have other, items that we're thinking of. We are looking, for example, of more ways for you to personalize and customize your shapers. So we do, like I mentioned, have the skins, but they are full costumes, if you like. You cannot piecemeal them. However, we are looking for other ways that, you can customize. So I don't want to give away too much yet, but, we want to basically enhance things like the competitive nature in games. What is something that we could show there, some kind of visual that we could show there, for example.
Gotcha.
Could you skin other things in the game? That, we're looking at that as well.
Right.
Lots of different ways that you can add, could you possibly have some different VO? Things like that. So
Oh, yeah.
there's lots of really exciting ways that we're trying to basically build up your own customized, shaper as best that we can.
Yeah, and let's be really upfront, guys. What you're going to see early, is going to be just that. It's going to be an early version of it. This type of system is something that will evolve over
Absolutely.
time, continually evolve. And it's not like going to be a fire and forget it. Oh, we think the system's completely done. This is going to be something that we're going to be able to iterate and to build on. So
Yeah,
it's very cool.
absolutely. And we'll be gathering feedback the entire time. So, if something doesn't work or players don't like it, then we want to know that and we want to change it. And if players do like something, we want to double down on it and provide
Yeah.
it.
And that's going to be solely driven by your guys' feedback and then also the metrics that we receive as well.
Absolutely.
So this is all very ambitious, but we have to get there first, right?
Absolutely.
So let's walk through maybe some, if you're ready to move on to that.
Sure.
Let's walk through some of how we're going to start rolling this out. Like what are we going to do to responsibly test this with our players?
Absolutely. So there is actually a 3-phased approach to this. So coming up in a patch soon, we will be looking at what we are going to say is our earn currency beta.
Okay.
Portion, and this is when we will be turning on Destiny, so you'll be able to accrue the Destiny at the end of every game, and you will use Destiny to unlock Shapers.
Okay.
And what we're thinking, because I'm sure people are going to ask really soon what the pricing is, so
Yes.
I'm going to get that out of the way. So what we're thinking initially is that at the end of every game you will earn 50 Destiny.
Okay.
We will grant you upfront in your wallet 370 Destiny for you to use as you will, as you
Okay.
wish. And the initial pricing that we're thinking for the Shapers is they will be 240 Destiny.
Okay, so after one game, you would be, or 2 games actually.
Actually, before you even play a game, you could unlock a Shaper.
You can unlock a single one, but after 2
Yes.
games, you'll be able to. And this is let's be very clear, guys. This is for the beta process. So this is to help everybody get started with
Yes.
with playing. So. Okay.
So yeah, after before you even start, you'll have enough Destiny to unlock a Shaper. After game 3, you'll have enough to unlock another Shaper, and then it will go up in increments of 5 games,
Okay.
roughly speaking.
Right. And guys, I do want to make sure that we're effectively managing expectations on this. This number is, bound to change here and there
Yes.
based on basically data that we collect. Like we want to make sure that we are responsibly growing the business and responsibly setting these prices and rates. So, there will be a point in time, they'll probably change at some point in time, but we'll make sure that we give you guys plenty of heads up, and we'll communicate anything that changes during the beta phase as clearly and as effectively as possible.
So throughout the whole beta phase, we will be doing resets, and there will be a lot of fluctuations. The one thing I do want to make super clear, and I'll talk about what the other milestones are in a minute, but when we do hit a milestone where we will start to take in real money, players will never ever lose their real money.
Absolutely.
So even if we reset what you own in your inventory, you will always maintain the value of the real money that you put into the system in your wallet.
Okay.
So no one ever loses real money.
Right.
So, but we may reset, your earn currency and anything that we've granted for free, anything like that, and you may
In
lose
that case, any basically and this is down the road, guys.
Yes.
We're not turning on real money next week, just so you're aware. But basically any money that you would have spent would just go back into your wallet
Yes.
for you to spend again.
Exactly.
And that's completely and totally understandable.
And the game's constantly changing and evolving, and this could actually be a very good thing because you might decide you wish you'd spent differently, and
Okay.
so it can give you opportunities to reconfigure your inventory that best suits the way you like to play. So you might be like, oh, wish I bought Freya.
Okay. So let's chat a little bit more about this very first, like you said, milestone that we're going to be hitting, which is the earn currency.
Yes.
Internally, we're calling it the earn currency beta because it's the first kind of real putting it through its paces of the earn currency testing that we're going to get from you guys, which this really isn't something we could test very effectively internally, is it? I mean...
Not really. I mean, we can do simulations, but I really want to see what the players really feel about how the grind feels, how they spend as they earn. I really want to see how the interaction works, and obviously amend accordingly to make this
Absolutely.
a good
Well,
experience.
and that's super interesting to actually be able to track and to watch people's spending habits.
Right.
I mean, that's useful not just from a business and monetization standpoint, but also from a design standpoint, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Getting better understanding of how players use certain shapers or the order that they buy them, helps us, for example, identify which of the shapers best suited for new players coming in.
Right.
Which are good ways to learn, things like that. Yeah, there's a lot of takeaways. It's not just for the monetization, it's for design and everything. So
Very cool.
there's a lot that hopefully we can learn.
Pluto, thanks for pointing that out, guys. By the way, if you're tuning in, we are talking with Miss Laura Mae Brown, Ms. Moneypenny. She is discussing our business plans moving forward and how that's going to impact the beta. And then we also are giving away beta keys silently in the chat, so please make sure you're following the channel. If you're not following the channel, unfortunately, we can't give you a beta key. So follow the channel, and if you win a beta key, you'll receive a PM in your Twitch message box. So, so this first milestone, we are going to be, we've already covered, you're going to be earning 50 Destiny after each match.
Yes.
And that's a flat amount right now.
That's flat right now.
Right
For
now.
now. Yes.
For now. We may change that depending upon things later on. But
well, yeah, exactly. Back to what I was saying earlier, that 50 Destiny will start to be affected by, a variety of factors, your performance, your contribution, your dedication, the social aspects. So that money can start to fluctuate.
Maybe even your behavior?
Your behavior, exactly.
Okay. All right. So we've already stated we're going to grant 370 Destiny. Just to kind of reiterate this, for the first phase, when we first introduced the earned currency, we're going to grant 370 Destiny. So and each shaper is going to cost 240. Is that right? So 240. So basically, you would need to buy 2 shapers to earn 2 shapers outright. Help me with the math. That's 480. So you would need to play 3 games then, right?
3 games to unlock 2 shapers.
To unlock 2 shapers,
yes.
Which is, I mean, for a lot of our players, that's that's not a problem, right?
That's a fun Friday night.
That's a fun Friday night, exactly. Okay, that's understandable.
So I did want to talk about the other half of this milestone, which is around the shaper rotation. But before we jump to that, just very quickly, I wanted to finish up my earlier point was 3 milestones. We talked about the first with the earned currency being released. The second milestone, once we feel that the earned currency economy is working very well, is to then open up for the waypoints. However, the first phase of that will be test funds. So we will actually be granting the players test waypoints.
Funny money.
Funny money, fine.
Yes.
Monopoly money,
yes.
Funny money. And, it is our real currency, it's our real paid currency, but players will not be able to buy it themselves.
Right.
We will give them a fixed amount. And this may change, and we may add more later on and things like that to see what the impact is on the dual currency economy. And then there'll be items that we'll be opening up, so skins, for example, and others yet to be announced, but coming soon, that will also be purchasable with waypoints.
Okay.
And then we're obviously testing similar things that we were testing to earn currency. We're trying to understand purchasing behavior and how players interact with these new items that are unlockable with waypoints and how waypoints interact with Destiny.
Okay.
And then the final phase is when we're going to turn on real money for reals.
For reals, yes.
For reals. So we will take away all the test funds. We will reset.
Yes.
And then all waypoints will need to be purchasable with real money.
Okay.
So that is the rollout. But in terms of what is coming soon, imminently, we've already talked about granting the Destiny and the shapers and how you'll be able to buy them. The next very quick thing I want to talk about is the shaper rotation.
Okay.
So if you have that image.
I'm going to go ahead and swap over to that right now, guys. So just so that we set this up, guys, this is a shaper rotation, but we are trying to do things a little bit differently, I think.
Yes.
And with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave that to you, Miss Brown.
Right, so here's what we're thinking, and please be mindful these are initial timings and things like that, and again this will change, but how we'd like to start is that we will put an initial set of 5 shapers, well, it's going to be 10 in total, but 2 groups of 5 will be staggered and overlapping.
Okay.
So at any given time you will have 10, but at the end of every week we will swap out 5 and reintroduce a new 5.
Okay, so it is going to be staggered. So you will actually, like in other games, you only have a week with a set of
with a single 10
with a single 10 of set of 10 characters. This way, you actually get 2 weeks with any given character. So it's actually more time, and that's actually one of the most important things about increasing your skill level is playing a character consistently. So with any given character in the free rotation, you will actually get a set of, you'll get 2 weeks. And at least during the beta phase, that really should be, it seems like it should be plenty of time to earn enough to actually purchase that, or to earn that shaper through earned currency.
Exactly. So it has multiple benefits. Like you were saying, it gives a player time to earn enough Destiny to unlock a shaper that they like from the rotation. It also gives them more time to play a specific shaper and really get good at them and understand if it matches their play style.
Okay.
And make them obviously competitive with that shaper. But at the same time, because they are staggered, 5 sets of shapers at any given time, the lineup still is robust enough to keep changing, where you don't have stagnant 10 that are just there all the time and you're in the same game with the same 10 shapers all the time.
Right. Well, and that's really, I think that's really nice. It's very actually refreshing to see that. I think people will be, I personally as a player am appreciative to have extra time with, like Arena, to get to learn and to understand that. So this is where I'm kind of glad that I work here. Perks of the job, guys.
Perks of the jobs, yes. But again, this is definitely one of the features. We want as much feedback as we can on this. Does this work? Is this the right timing? Do we swap them out fast enough? Too slow?
Right.
We're doing everything we can to maintain, balanced teams as well as access to a variety of roles through these shapers. So we're very cognizant of that. But yeah, any and all feedback is what we're hoping to get.
So during this early phase of beta, while we have the rotation, this is actually a question that's probably going to come up, and I'm going to go ahead and ask it. Are we going to have new shapers in the rotation the week that they come out during this early phase of beta?
So yes, because we're in early phase and there isn't a lot of shapers,
right.
We will be putting new shapers into the rotation so you can try them shortly after they come out.
Okay.
So, for example, this is what we're seeing on the screen is a reflection of actually the first rotation, and you can see there is a question mark on one of them because we haven't actually released that shaper.
Speaking of which, I can actually just show you guys this really quickly. Boom.
Boom. So
this is our first rotation.
This is our very first rotation. So there is a man in the middle with a big question mark on his face.
Yes.
This is a new shaper that's coming up really soon, and he will be in the first rotation.
Speaking of which, it should this in no way should let you guys. This in no way represents that it is either a male or. Is a guy with a big question mark on his face. I just want to make sure
that's not actually what he looks like.
That's not actually what he looks like. So, anyways, that's very cool. And there's lots of reasons for us to do this. One of the key ones being is that the designers need that immediate feedback on these shapers.
Absolutely. And there's a huge design goal here. We do want to make sure that as many shapers as possible are played during the beta. To get the balance right between them. To see how they interact with each other. So. That's why we're also, exactly to your point, we're very keen to put the new shapers into the rotation as well as the existing shapers.
And so, this rotation, I don't remember, I was reading the chat, so you may have actually covered this, so I apologize if I missed it. How did we go about picking this? Obviously you're working very closely with the design team, with Gasty and Hunter and those guys, but what kind of considerations are we putting into this?
So there are a few. Majority of them are basically design-oriented, but they cover things like we do have shapers that are on a watch list, if you like, and we're checking to see if their balance is right, or we've seen something a little funny with them, so we try to put them in. But more importantly, for the player, we are trying to give them a good variety of shapers where they can try out the different roles that we have in the game, and that they can have a selection to choose from. And to be honest, if you're going into a game, and in my case I play a lot of Nissa, someone takes Nissa. We're trying to see if there can be another AD carry that you can have access to.
Okay.
And kind of give you those choices. So you shouldn't, if I like to play AD carry, there will always be an AD carry in the rotation.
Okay, awesome. That's very good to know. And you can see we do have a pretty good mix of things. We have obviously Kendra, the mage assassin. We have another caster in Zalgus. We have, I think, 3 possible options for jungling with Kel, Petrus, and Volek. Heck, you could take anybody into jungle. You could even take Petrus into jungle if you wanted to, or Reyna. But I think we have a pretty good lineup here. I would say for the first rotation, and then of course that's also going to be supplemented by folks actually earning the shapers as they go along, which I think will happen at a pretty good pace, so a pretty good clip. So right on. Well, this is very exciting. So we've got. Do you have more that you need to cover this week, or is this good for this week? And then
this is good. This is good for this week. I just wanted to lead in with what will happen, with the next time the monetizationist team is up here. And the feature that we'll be wanting to show, for example, will be the advisor. So this is something that we've been thinking about. I can't reveal it quite yet.
Right.
But the idea is that we're trying to do something a little bit different from a typical store.
Okay.
Typically, storefronts, you can access all the inventory. They're all in lists and, whatever.
Right.
But what we're trying to do is have a page that kind of gives tips and highlights top features, tries to educate the players.
Okay.
A little bit more about about what is the content that they can actually access within Dawngate.
So you're talking about something that is contextual, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's a little bit not going to look like this, but it's a little bit akin to, the Amazon, when you go to Amazon and they have recommendations for you. You can see what other people with similar interests like you,
Okay.
like to buy or whatever. But on top of that, we want to put in like, top tips from Dibs, or something like that. Or
Oh, okay.
here's some recommended builds for your shaper, that kind of thing. And here are the shapers that are on rotation. All this other information as well. It's kind of, and if players don't want to look at it and they know what they want, they can go straight for that. But if they're interested or want more context, then they can opt in to look at this page and get more detail.
That's really cool, actually. And as somebody who uses Amazon a lot, which I'm sure is like a lot of us these days, right? I actually am really looking forward to seeing something that is kind of like almost a personalized store. So that should be
That is what we're working towards. I mean, not on day one will it be completely customized to the individual, but that is a goal that we hope we can get to.
Yeah, down the road.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And the more content that we release and the more new features and initiatives that come out, the richer that this advisor page will be. So right now, obviously, we have shapers. Eventually, I've talked about eventually having some kind of perks and loadouts. I've talked about whatever, like special drops and things like that. And I've, touched upon other maybe cosmetic items that may come. And as these things come in, this page will become richer and richer with content. So, I just want to warn the players it might be a little bare when they first see it the first time,
Right.
but it is a foundation that we keep building. And as they tell us what works and what doesn't work, then we will keep amending. So they're like, yeah, we love these developer tips. Put more tips in, more tips in. No,
Okay.
these are not meaningful. We'll take them out.
Okay. Well, that's great, and we'll cover that again in another podcast, another community catch-up, guys. So there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to the advisor. So before we get into the Q&A session, which we know lots of you guys have probably got questions, I just want to kind of recover some of these things really quickly, guys, so that kind of to encapsulate all the things that we covered. We're going to be rolling out in 3 milestones. The first is the Earn Currency beta. I saw somebody called it the Destiny beta, which is
actually is a better name.
It does have a better name. We might get Bungie giving us a little bit of heck over that though. And then we're going to have kind of the funny money beta. So basically, where we grant the paid currency, and then we'll have an actual real money beta where people can actually, all the people who've been asking us, can I donate to Dawngate? This will be your opportunity to give us money and get something in return.
Yes.
This is going to be happening in an upcoming patch sooner rather than later, guys. I'm not going to give you an exact date just because we're still testing everything and trying to make sure everything's working. But I will say sooner rather than later. Not this week though. This is all all these things that we're testing right now. We will probably have some resets. We will definitely have some resets after the funny money beta. But even along the way during their currency beta, we may have to do resets and things like that. Prices may change throughout the beta.
Oh, most definitely. To be honest,
as we kind of like get more data and kind of watch people's spending habits and playing habits. And then what else was I going to say? We're going to be introducing a continuous rollout of new features associated with this. So, you talked about perks and loadouts. There's going to be more to come on that, guys. That's a major feature that we're going to have folks here to talk about all that fun stuff. So
I'm going to bring my mate Hunter.
Oh boy.
And we're going to talk about that.
Oh, it'll be lots of fun, I'm sure. I think I know it'll be lots of fun. I'm actually really excited by this system. So, let's go ahead. Are you ready to unleash the questions?
Bring it.
Bring it? Okay. And so, guys, this is what helps us out the most. If you put a Q and then a colon, a capital Q and a colon, and then write your question after it, that kind of lets me know that it's actually a question there. So go ahead. I'm going to keep talking for just a moment while you guys populate the chat with the questions, because I know that there's like the 10-second delay on the stream. So, this is exciting, though. This is good. Like, people have been asking us about our business model for so long, and we've not been at the point where we could talk about it. And now it's good to kind of be able to talk about this and to start working with the players to make this the best system possible.
We want to be open with the players as much as possible. We were very quiet for a while because we were still finalizing at our end. But now that we have a much better idea of what we're trying to do, and some of the stuff's actually built, we're ready to talk about it. And all questions are game. I'll do my best to answer them. Anything that is still in the works. I won't be able to dive too deeply into, but hopefully I can give enough context, at least for the upcoming patch.
Okay. So Christ the Gamer asks, when Destiny patch comes out, will every shaper be locked other than the rotation shapers?
So yes, when we do turn on this patch, you have the 10 that are in the rotation to access immediately, and then all others are locked. But like I mentioned, you have the initial granted Destiny
Right.
that will give you enough to unlock another shaper immediately.
Okay.
And then after 3 games, you'll be able to unlock another, and then it will go up roughly in increments of 5 games. You'll keep unlocking.
Okay. Outstanding. Um, Rio Uppercut. I just did the 10-second recap, actually. Here's a great question from Diamond Scale. In what ways does Destiny actually help Waystone? And I can think of some obvious ones, but why don't you go ahead and give us some answers of how earning Destiny actually helps us develop the game and run the game?
Well, I mean, Destiny is like I was saying, is kind of your reward for how you contribute to the game. So it's going to give us a lot of insight into, how balanced the game is, what you choose to spend your destiny on, what you find most valuable, what it unlocks your perks, your stats, and that helps us understand what works for what shapers. It basically is a mechanism of you kind of growing in the game as well.
Okay.
So the idea is you come in and people will be coming in on different playing fields in the sense of like how experienced they are with MOBAs or how experienced they are specifically with Dawngate. And, as you unlock things gradually, this also gives you a way of kind of controlling, if you like, your very exciting learning curve, so you're not completely, overwhelmed when you first come in.
The truth. Will there be things which are only purchasable with Destiny and not waypoints?
Yes, definitely. So the perks or the stats, however you want to call them, they will, and the loadouts will only be for Destiny.
Currency.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they are directly impacting how you play your game and impact gameplay. So to be fair for everyone, it will not be for real money.
Okay. The 11th dock, are the current perks and loadouts all going to stay free? And this is, guys, just to let you know, like for the first phase of our currency beta, the perks and loadouts are going to be there until we get to the point where we're ready to roll out the perks and loadout system.
Yes.
So that will eventually change, but for now and for the immediate future, I just want you to know that stuff all stays the same. But eventually, you'll be given, like Laura said, you'll be given a default set of perks, and which everybody will have access to, so that there's an even playing field, like your power curve basically. But you'll be able to earn the more customizable ones through gameplay.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. And over time, and this is obviously at the discretion of designers, but over time they may change the default ones that they think are, better suited or, are more generic for all shapers and things like that, because we will continue to keep, releasing new perks, and, we may swap them in and out of the default.
Xanadel, what made you decide against Foundry packages? So Founders packages and things like that.
I think for us, I mean, we've been very excited about getting players into the game at a speed that we can actually manage,
Yes.
and getting that feedback. So for us, a lot of Founders Packs have instant access to beta, and effectively you're paying for access to beta, and we have gone as fast as we can to let people in. So we didn't really need that aspect. And to be honest, I didn't want to gate anything behind a Founders Pack that wasn't accessible to everybody who was contributing to the beta. So I think everybody's in the beta, are very important to us, and we do have plans to reward all our beta players for their contribution,
Right.
with something exclusive and unique to everyone who was here. And it just made more sense to just get the people in as soon as possible, to roll out our content and our features as quickly as we could, to have them tested, rather than hold any back for a Founders Pack or have an exclusive for a Founders Pack or have players pay to access or anything like that.
Okay, all right. There was a question. Will you be able to buy Destiny boosts with waypoints? If yes, do you feel like that's buying loadouts with real money? Even further, why not just buy loadouts with waypoints? So let's break that question down. So the first one is basically a question of convenience versus time, right?
Right.
And that's always been kind of an accepted standard within the free-to-play kind of space, that if you want to pay for something like an XP boost, or in case of like League, like an IP boost, it's basically you're it's a set amount of time, and it's basically saying I just have to play less games to get to this. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, look, irrespective of your level, irrespective of how much you love to play Dawngate, people do have different amounts of time that they can dedicate to the game. It doesn't make them less dedicated, it just means that's life. And so for players who can't play, 10 games in a row in one night or can't spend a long time playing, we did want to give them options to keep growing their experience. That said, yes, if waypoints are unlocking boosts, then they're basically unlocking, they're indirectly unlocking perks and indirectly unlocking shapers. However, we've done everything we can to as best we can, is maintain the fairness. So we have the rotation that keeps cycling through, so you keep getting access to free shapers all the time, whether you're having the extra boost or not. The perks, like I said, with the default perks, you're not, it's exactly equal, so you're not at a disadvantage because you don't have more perks.
Right.
It is just how you want to customize. So
what do you? So I'm gonna ask you a hard question here.
Sure. And then I'm gonna pull off my mic and run off.
And you're gonna run away,
Yeah.
which is fine. No, you'll be fine. So what about the idea that Riot introduced with League with buying like IP boosts with IP?
Yeah, absolutely. That we haven't ruled that out at all.
Okay.
So to be honest, boosts are coming. That is something that we're going to bring.
Okay.
When? I'm not 100% sure yet. How we price them is something that we're still working out, and the reason why it's not coming right now, one of the reasons, amongst others, is that we're looking to see how players interact with waypoints, how they interact with Destiny and things like that, and try to understand how is the best way to price them. So definitely we could have a situation where you could buy it both with Destiny and waypoints.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
So, it's like we said, it's not set in stone. It's something that's still under consideration. But just so you know, guys, the door is open on that.
Absolutely.
Maiden Quebec asked a question earlier, and I know we're going to get this one, and so I want to go ahead and jump in front of it.
Sure.
How much influence has EA had on our business plan?
I'm going to be super honest, this was something that I was a little bit cautious of when I first joined EA because, having come from sort of startup world where you have quite a lot of freedom, I was worried that I wouldn't have that freedom. And one of the things that actually brought me over here was I was pleasantly surprised that actually Waystone Games has been able to fly under the radar of the sort of the big corporate EA in the sense of having our autonomy to really think how is the best way for us to build this game and build this business model.
Yes.
So the kind of deal that we've struck with the bigger EA is, okay, look, we have some big ideas for some stuff that we want to do. Some of it we've never tried at EA before. Let us try them out. Let us prove to you that we know what we're doing and, these ideas are valid. And in exchange, please support us. There's a, central technology that they can offer us. There's a lot of best practices we can learn. Please be supportive of us. And let's see. And we'll go on this journey together. So actually, if I'm honest, the bigger EA has been very quiet in terms of us building this business model.
Okay. Liked one, just to go ahead and answer that question. We answer it quite often, and actually, if you look down in the FAQ, I believe it's answered. We will eventually have EU servers. We just don't have like a set time as to when we're going to do that. So, ADB1B, I saw your question. Much like Lorenzo, you're just a big troll. That's okay. I still love you. Where was the question? So somebody was asking if, and I'm gonna paraphrase this a little bit, if in the future wins, losses, and things like that will affect the amount of Destiny you earn. We did mention earlier that is entirely possible. That it's not just winning or losing, but it's also your actions in the game and even potentially even like your behavior and stuff like that. And again, guys, this is all work in progress, like heavily in design right now. So.
I did see a question. It's popped up a couple of times. I've lost the player's name, but he or she has been asking about how players can actually pay for waypoints. So we are still building up that system. That is a future milestone that is not currently penciled in anytime very soon, but it's coming. But they're basically asking, can you pay via card through the system, or can you actually go to retail stores? So that is something that we are working on. Definitely you can pay through the system, and there'll be a variety of payment methods, and some of them will be country specific. In terms of having an ability to go to an actual brick and mortar store to be able to buy waypoints, we're still working that out.
Yes.
So that is
To give you guys a little bit of insight on that, that's actually something you work through a third-party vendor. They basically you pay them money, they put your cards on the shelf, and then they reimburse you money, a percentage of that after that whole transaction works through. So there's a lot of negotiation that goes on with that. Also, as far as like the payment methods, that's one of the benefits of being published by EA. Actually,
Yes.
is that we have that infrastructure
All set up
and built into other countries, so
right.
that hopefully it will be a rather smooth rollout when we go to these different locations, right? So like in Germany, for example, like the primary way of paying is through this debit bank card thing, right? So
Right.
here in the States we all use Visa, MasterCard, debit card things, right? As our basically like a credit card. Very different paying structures in Europe. So, but just so you know, guys, like we are absolutely keeping the idea that there are multiple payment methods needed, and the availability of it needs to be out there based on locale.
Yeah, absolutely. And, no matter where you're geographically located, we're doing our best to customize the payment methods in every region. And that's one of good examples of where the wider EA is supporting us.
Okay, awesome.
Someone has been asking about gifting. So gifting is a feature that we've obviously definitely thought about. It is quite a big feature to build into the game.
Yeah.
Has many fraud issues and fun things like that. So it's definitely something we've talked about internally, and I hope we can bring it out in the future, but it is not currently slated for any time soon.
Organic has a very specific question, but it's actually a pretty cool question. Are there any plans to utilize Amazon's Game Connect to purchase waypoints and other in-game goodies?
I mean, is there potential? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are we working on it right now? No. No.
I think that like all of those things basically, they're ideas, guys, and if the opportunity is there and there's enough of a demand for it, just like where we're going to put servers, it's if there's enough of a demand and it's a cool enough opportunity, then yeah, I mean.
And to be honest, we're very much in a testing phase, and so we're validating our business model, we're validating our game, we're validating the content that's coming out, and to be honest, before we go to any, especially third-party vendors, we need to have a viable business, sustainable business that we're bringing to the table for them as well. So when we are a little bit more, I guess, concrete with our understanding of how our economy is working in the game, what players like and don't like, that's when we can get to the sort of next stage where we can go further out like that.
Scorpio asks an interesting question, and this is something that probably comes from the Dota system. Will dropped loot after a match be able to be traded? Same for the purchased unlocks.
In our first iteration, let's say second iteration, no.
Okay.
And this is mainly because the initial system is specifically to reward you on an individual basis. I mean, and when I say individual, it doesn't mean I don't care what the rest of your team's doing, but it is your individual contribution to either your performance, how you play within a team, your social contribution, your behavior, things like that. That's how we're starting. We have great plans to start rewarding beyond just an individual, so rewarding teams and things like that. So for now, no, we're not trading because we want that reward to be special for you.
Right.
But as we evolve the system, there is a potential could be.
Okay. All right. Somebody asked earlier, I don't remember, and Jedi saw that, by the way. There was a question earlier asking specifically about skins, and if we haven't made a decision on this yet, that's a perfectly acceptable thing to say. Like, do you think that we would give the option to buy skins or even certain skins with Destiny?
We haven't made a decision on that yet. It is not something that we're ruling out. I know I'm being very vague right now, but it's not a plan that we've solidified yet. Initially, they will be for waypoints, and we will see how we go from there.
Okay, awesome.
Related to that, I've seen a couple of questions on: do you plan to tier the pricing for the skins, so and for shapers or any content really? So the answer is yes. Obviously, we are trying to have content that is accessible to different pay levels.
Okay.
And also because different amounts of effort, technology, time go into building different quality levels of content that will also be reflected in the price. But initially, to start, we will keep things pretty standardized and then gradually start to build them into tiers as we have more content.
Okay. The trading thing we've already kind of covered. What does Waystone Games take on skins? Same with Shaper. same shaper with different clothes or complete overhaul of the shaper with this? That's kind of more of an art question, more art and design question, guys. Somebody, Radic, would it be possible to do sort of a meet and greet with the team of Dawngate? Well, watch the stream every week. We meet and greet every week, guys. Let's see here. There was actually a question earlier about why did we opt for the skin method instead of the kind of more mix and match interchangeable method that Dota has gone with. So the itemized basically.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we knew was very, very, very important to us is the lore. And, the amazing world that, Chris Latois is building right now with us. He's a member of our team who is our amazing genius writer. And he's building an amazing world. And we wanted to reflect, the evolution of the Shapers and a lot into their backstory and their future story with the skins. And to really capture that, they had to be a complete overhaul of the shaper. And then, on the less glamorous side, there were technical restraints around being able to kind of fragment and have the itemized.
Okay.
So that's why, like I was saying earlier, we were thinking, what are the other ways that you can keep customizing beyond just a single skin? So, I alluded that in the future there will be items, be it, being able to skin something else or having different VO or whatever it may be,
Different layers of customization.
Different layers of customization, so that it's much more than just a skin.
Okay. By the way, guys, we have lots of Waystone Games staff actually in the chat right now, but for some reason they're not showing up as mod. I think that Twitch might be having some issues right now. So, somebody add a player-made skin / items. That's always a question that's brought up a lot, and you know what? The model. That Dota has built for that, right? The player workshop, right? It's awesome. I don't think anybody in our studio would look at that and is not just clapping our hands at the work that they've done with that. But that kind of a pipeline is something that takes years to develop. It is not something that we can just rush out the door with. So,
and we definitely want it. Like, I'd love to have that in Dawngate, but like you say, that. It's, we're trying to build up the foundation of the game so that, there's a lot of vested interest in actually putting your own customized things in. But like you're saying, that's a lot of investment, a lot of time, and a lot of dev work. And, at the moment we're a small team, but I hope we can grow as our game grows. And then, that is definitely something that I would believe that we would start to, really think about in the future.
Okay, so we have time for one more question, guys. One more question. It's almost noon.
Almost noon.
Almost
Lunchtime.
noon. And you do have a hard stop
I
at
do,
noon.
yes.
So probably a lunch meeting, I'm guessing, because you are that person who schedules meetings at
lunchtime.
All the time.
Yes.
So and I'm going to go ahead and ask you this. If there was one part of our business model that you are the most excited about, and that you think is something that you absolutely need to communicate to our players, what would that be?
Honestly, I think there are two main things that I want to convey. The first is, we are genuinely trying to do different stuff. Now, when I say different, it's different degrees of different. Different compared to other MOBAs, but maybe, are mirrored in other genres. And then new stuff that we're just trying to try generally. And a lot of this is still to come, so I can't reveal all of it. But, we had a lot of comparisons of are you like X MOBA or Y MOBA? And, they all have great systems that work for them. And, yes, do we have similarities, of course, but we are really trying to branch out and try different things. So I'm really excited for, some of the items, especially, for example, some of the non-shaper themed items that, that players can also tap into to broaden their experience beyond the shapers. I think that's really exciting when that comes. And then secondly is the advisor. So this is us trying to really take a different tact with the store.
Yes.
It's going to be kind of woven into the whole kind of interface. So we do want you to be able to unlock any shaper or skin or whatever anywhere you are in the client. Like if you're, reading up about the, the lore of Fenmore, and you're like, this is great, then you should be able to unlock it right there and not have to leave your experience and go to a formal store and find it. At the same time, if you come to the advisor, we're hoping to be a bit more meaningful so that we can give any context or guidance that we can for the players to make this overall experience better.
Okay, awesome. Miss Moneypenny, Laura, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping by today. You did an outstanding job, and hopefully the folks at home, our players out there who are watching this, enjoyed the presentation that we put together for you. And of course, there's going to be lots of questions. We're actually going to be posting a version of everything that Miss Moneypenny said in our forums here in a little bit, and I'm sure somebody will link to it on the subreddit. So please go ask your questions there. We'll have folks on the monetization team who will be answering your questions and hopefully engaging you in a great conversation in the forums. It's exciting stuff.
It is.
It's really exciting. Obviously, it's going to take time for kind of all of it to sink in and for people to process it. So I think that the number one thing that I would ask of our beta testers, our community right now, is take some time to actually to think about this, guys, and to maybe rewatch the VOD if you need to fully kind of get the big picture of this, and then give us some of your initial feedback. And then of course wait for the patch to roll out with the currency stuff in there. Play with it, see how it feels. Let us know what your thoughts are on the system that we've set up, guys. Because the informed feedback is like the most important stuff that we could possibly get on it. So,
and I will be back on future streams.
Yes.
Because we're going to keep revealing things as they become finalized, and because we want to show you stuff that's really coming out. So, like I mentioned, Hunter and I will be back to talk about the perks and loadouts. Lorenzo or Jiva and I will be back to talk about, the advisor, things like that. So there's a lot that we wanna cover.
Hi, Captain No Patch. Question: have we solidified the beta times yet?
Maybe.
I wanted to close the stream out with letting people know what the beta times this week will be. This is development in action, guys.
Yeah.
As he goes,
decide on the fly.
He's walking over to the QA lead and asking Mr. Winter something. Hold on. This is we're doing real time development with you guys. No pressure to Mr. Winter.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Beta starts when Ryan says so. Exactly. That is true. When Ryan said so. There's somebody. Oh wow, the delay.
Yeah, I know. I was like, is someone behind me? No.
Hi, Captain No Patch. Question: can you get me coffee? We're doing it? Straight through? Yeah. Oh Lord. All right, guys. So here we go. Beta starts tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and goes straight through to Sunday. No sleep till Brooklyn, ladies and gentlemen. Beastie Boys. Anyways. All right, guys. So beta starts tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Thursday through Sunday, all the way straight through. No shutting down in the meantime. So, folks, we'll put up an announcement later on, but you guys enjoy a weekend full of Dawngate. We will be live again tomorrow at noon and streaming for some amount of time, giving out beta keys and all that fun stuff. Just to let you know, we are not going to be streaming this Friday. There's this little thing called LCS World Championships going on that several of us are actually heading down to kind of participate and celebrate MOBA culture and see lots of our friends who work down there at Riot. So it should be lots of fun there. And we haven't figured out if we're going to have a Saturday and Sunday stream this week. But regardless, if we don't, we will be back again next Tuesday, no matter what. So, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in today. We really appreciate all of your questions, and we encourage you guys to play in the beta tomorrow if you got a key. If not, subscribe to the channel, follow the channel here on Twitch, and get a notification every time we go live. We give out keys all the time on our beta channel. That, or what you could always do is hit that Shape the Future of Dawngate right down there and register for the beta. That is the best way to get a key because it guarantees you'll actually get a key. So please register for the beta if you haven't already. Until then, I've been Andy Belford. This has been Miss Laura Mae Brown, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.